Hi everyone, it's Gene Calderon here with Gene Calderon Apologetics Ministries, getting back on the teaching series that we've been doing here over the theme days that we've been presenting, and today being Monday, we will go back to Messiah Mondays. This is the time where we look at Jesus and his ministry in the first century of discipleship, really trying to understand who Jesus was as a rabbi and who his disciples were as followers of a rabbi and how that worked. And we want to try to look at these things in the cultural setting that they were originally placed so that we understand and interpret the scriptures accurately. Now, when it comes to Jesus, as far as we know, Jesus did not belong to any of the main religious groups that were active at that time during the first centuries. And I'm talking about people such as the Sadducees, the Zealots, or the Essenes, or even the Pharisees. But still, when we look at his teachings and the things that are recorded in the scriptures, Jesus' teachings come closest to those of the Pharisees. Now, that might surprise us because Jesus is the one who actually calls them hypocrites. He's also the one who calls them a brood of vipers. I mean, he's calling them names. And so because of that, sometimes when we see that, the teachings of the Gospels and the Gospel themselves might seem that to imply that everything that Jesus said was directly against the teachings of the Pharisees. That is not true. Actually, when we see how closely Jesus' teachings are to the Pharisees, we could actually say that those were probably the ones that are closest to sharing his understanding of the scriptures. So it's so important to realize in the first century that debate was a huge part of the way the first century students studied and came to understand things. Rabbis believed that the sign of an excellent student was their ability to argue well. I mean, in today's culture, we don't like arguing. We try to avoid arguing. We don't want to feel that kind of uncomfortable feeling when it comes to somebody who may seem smarter than us or may be able to out-argue us, and so we avoid it altogether. It was completely different in the first century. They wanted to argue to be able to sharpen their understanding. In fact, there's a story of a particular rabbi who mourned the death of his strongest opponent because he said he had no one to spar with, no one who was going to force him to refine his thinking. So again, this was a valuable asset when it came to the first century teaching. Now, even though some of Jesus' listeners tried to trap him with clever arguments or clever questions, others were debating him only because this was how studying was done. This is how teaching was done. And so, they came and challenged Jesus for good reasons, for reasons that even Jesus would have looked at and say, that's a good argument. Let's get into this. Now, one of the things when the rabbis talk about this, they would get frustrated if somebody didn't argue. They would kind of wonder, how can we learn anything if no one is going to disagree with me? In fact, you'll see it sometimes in the Gospels where you'll see Jesus set up a question or ask a question amongst fellow rabbis or even in a synagogue setting. And one of the things that reveals to us where he gets angry is that no one dares ask him a question. He wants a question. He wants somebody to question him. Why? Because he knows that's how people are willing to learn. And when they didn't ask him a question, he becomes angry and frustrated because it shows their unwillingness to learn from him. So it seems pretty clear that Jesus was an important part of the Jewish world of his day, making sophisticated contributions to the high-level conversations that were going on amongst the rabbis by creating debates, by entering into arguments, by pushing back on the culture and letting them realize or think a little bit deeper about the things they understood about Scripture. Jesus was a master at this. So when we look at Jesus and see that people are challenging him, it's not because they hate him. It's because they are trying to learn from him or they want him to actually teach. And that's why they bring up arguments. Completely different culture than today, but very, very valuable for understanding the Scriptures. So it would be wrong for us to look at these and say, look at how they're constantly attacking Jesus. No, it's sometimes look at how much they're trying to learn from Jesus because they're presenting arguments. So even today, we can't look at arguments negatively. They are very, very good at helping us refine our thinking to realize that we're maybe wrong in some aspects or even right in some aspects. We have to have that desire to dig deeper, not take arguments against us so personally that I can't learn from them. I may be wrong on things. That would be fine. Show me where I'm wrong and I'll learn. If I'm right on something, I want to show you, and the only way that sometimes I can show you is by arguing with you, not because I don't like you or your personality or things. I mean, that's secondary, but I'm trying to dig to the truth, and that's what we need to do. So let's take another look at the Gospels and see the discussions that Jesus has. Are they arguing with him because they don't like him, or are they trying to dig a little bit deeper? You'd be surprised how many times they're trying to learn from Jesus. I hope this helps you. This is, again, part of Messiah Mondays here with Gene Calderon Apologetics Ministries, looking to serve Northwest Indiana. I do serve at Freedom Church in East Chicago, Indiana, Ratio Christi at Purdue University Northwest in Hammond, Indiana, Lake County Right to Life. We have some student groups on there, and just here within Northwest Indiana, looking for events or opportunities to share more. If your church or study group would like to host us to be able to bring some of this teaching and on different apologetic topics, feel free to reach out to us. We'd love to be able to do that. Or if you're looking for a local ministry to support, I am a missionary to Purdue University Northwest, sharing the gospel, sharing science, history, and philosophy with students to sharpen their skills and to be able to understand why they believe what they believe. And there's a link below that will show you how you can contribute, either be a one-time gift or a monthly supporter of a missionary right here in your backyard. So I hope you take that into consideration and give us a like. Subscribe to my channel here on YouTube. If you're watching this on Facebook, the link to the YouTube will be in the comments. You can click on there and support that, or click on that, and you'll be updated every time I post something new. So God bless you. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next Messiah Monday with more on how Jesus and his disciples understood the culture, the times, and the scriptures. God bless you.